Say goodnight to the bad guy, because you never seen a bad guy look so good. Hey folks, it's from Scarface. Everybody knows it. I just got done watching it for the 875,000th time, it seems like. Forget about it. Al Pacino should have got an Oscar for that movie. Say hello to my little friend. I'm telling you, he was fantastic. How he didn't get an Oscar nomination and a win is beyond me. But not only was he great in it, so was Steven Bauer as Manny, and so was Robert Loggia as Frank Lopez. They were fantastic in that movie. Forget about it. But hey, this is Bad Brad Berkowitz, and I'm the host of the Bad Brad Berkowitz Show. Forget about it. And this is another RSR video email bag. Now, let's get right to your questions, because I know you're waiting on the answers. Forget about it, because you've been sending them in daily, and I'm having to do these email video bags daily. And we're here for you. But remember, before we start, make sure you subscribe to the RSR YouTube channel so you can keep up with all of these videos and the Bad Brad Berkowitz Show and anything else that we put up. Forget about it. Here's your questions, folks. First question. Bad Brad, hilarious freaking email bag. Keep them up. I'm telling all my boxing buddies about your show. Two questions. First, is that guy in the picture behind you when you shoot with the curly hair from The Godfather? Because he looks like one of the gangsters in that movie. Well, pal, you got a good eye, and I'm assuming that you're talking about this picture right here. This one right here. You know, you're absolutely right. That's Paulie Gatto, a.k.a. Johnny Martino, the actor. Okay? Remember, he got murdered. He got killed in it. He's the one at the wedding scene that said, 20, 30 grand in small bills in that silk purse. Maron, if this was anybody else's wedding, sweet tornado. Hilarious, hilarious. The reason why I have that picture is I interviewed Johnny Martino a couple of years back on newsbreaker.com, our entertainment side of the house. It's a podcast, so you can listen to him on there, talk about The Godfather and Frank Sinatra, Lucky Luciano, and a lot of other people. So yes, you're absolutely right. Paulie Gatto, great guy. We talk every couple months or so. Forget about it. All right, and your other question is, am I the only one out there who thinks Steve Cunningham is going to starch Antonio Tarver on August 14th? How do you see the fight going? Signed, Al T. from Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Al T. from Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Forget about it. Are you Debbie's neighbor down there? Are you the guy that we met the other day? It may be. I don't know. We got a lot of people watching us. Bartlesville's happening in town. Okay. I'm going to tell you like this. You're not the only one. I actually think that Cunningham's going to win that fight, but I don't think he's going to knock out Tarver. I think he's going to beat him by decision. I think Cunningham, he always comes in shape. So that's a no-brainer. But after his last fight against, I think it was a Russian guy, that he got robbed. I mean, robbed. Stevie Wonder called me and was like, hey, Bad Brad, I saw that fight and it was a bad decision. And if Stevie says it, you know it was bad. Forget about it. I think he's going to decision Antonio Tarver, and that's going to be the end of Antonio Tarver. Now, with that said, bet on Antonio Tarver. But no, I think he's going to win a decision. It's going to be close. There may be moments that Tarver does a little something, but I think Cunningham has more left in the tank than Antonio Tarver does. But let's just say that Antonio Tarver gets past Steve Cunningham, USS Cunningham. Nod to him, he was in the military. All props to you for that, Steve. Now, say that Tarver gets past him. I honestly don't think that Tarver can hang with the big boys. I don't think he can beat Klitschko. I think he's a better boxer and more experienced than Deontay Wilder, night and day, but I don't think he has enough left to keep up with Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder has a good chance of stopping him, even though I don't think Tarver's ever been stopped. But I think he's too big. All right, so there's the answers to your questions. Al T, thanks for writing in. Next question. Bad Brad, I was on the floor today when I read the article and saw the video of Adrian Broner telling the world he caught the crabs on Ringside Report. What a fool. Do you think he can make a comeback to the top once again after that beatdown by Sean Porter? I personally hope he never fights again because he doesn't respect the sport of boxing one single bit. Signed, by a lady, Nancy S. from White Plains, New York. Well, Nancy, thank you for writing in. White Plains, Sir John's Pizza on, I think is it Central Avenue? Whatever that main drag is. I think it is Central Avenue. I could be wrong. Sir John's Pizza, forget about it. I used to eat there all the time. The pizza is to die for. Forget about it. That's a plug. You owe me, Sir John's. All right. So, Nancy, here's my thing with Adrian Boner, as I call him. Okay? The guy can fight. Anybody that says he can't fight, they're not being honest. Because he can fight. He didn't win the championship a couple times in different weight classes, not being able to fight. However, he's his own worst enemy. He's a big boner. Now, can he come back? Yes. And Adrian, from what I understand, and I can't vouch for this, forget about it, but this is what I've heard through the grapevine, that you actually watch this video show. And if you do, forget about it. I'm surprised that you haven't called or written in, because nobody stopped you with your big mouth. And I would entertain what you have to say. I told you, we don't cherry pick like your big brother, Floyd Make It Rain Mayweather Jr. does. Here's how you come back, and here's how you're successful. Get over yourself. Get past yourself. Take the sport of boxing seriously. Keep it in your pants. Keep your big mouth shut to a minimum. It's okay to talk a little shit, but you take it to a whole different level. Grow the bleep up. That's your biggest problem. Grow up. You have the skills. You can come back. But if you lose again at that level, the Sean Porter level, you're done, pal. You're done in my book. You're done now in a lot of people's book, but I've been around boxing a long time, and I know one big win can put you back in the limelight. And you can get there. I'm not a fan of yours, and I'm probably never going to be unless I see a major change in you, Adrian Boner. And when you are, I'll be the first one not to call you Boner anymore. When I see that you want to grow up and act like a man. You can act like a man. And you know what? We don't answer the phone here because that's probably a telemarketer. Let me take a look real quick. It sure is. We're going to hang up the phone. We get telemarketers here constantly calling the Ringside Report office. But like Marlon Brando said in The Godfather, a.k.a. Don Vito Corleone, you can act like a man. When you do that, we'll give you some props. Till then, you're a boner. All right, last question. Bad Brad, is Tough Rockin' Robin Blake still alive? I loved his fights back in the 1980s. He just fell off the face of the earth, and I think if he were in his prime today, he could be a champion. What do you think? Signed, Marshall T. from Bristol, Tennessee. Well, Marshall T. Robin Blake, great fighter in his day. Very exciting. What happened with Rockin' Robin? First of all, he's still around. Let me answer that part first. He's still around, and I actually talked to him a couple years ago. At that time, he was a police officer, and he may still be. Okay, he doesn't like the limelight though at all. He doesn't like the media. Nothing with me. We didn't have any problems, but he's not into the media and all that, which he told me. But I believe he was a cop at that time. I'm almost positive he was a police officer. We didn't get a chance to do the interview and we lost touch. He was one of those guys that had a lot of power. He was on CBS a lot. He was on ESPN when ESPN was thebomb.com. Now, he was one of those guys that knocked out a lot of fighters. He had a big win over Tony Balthazar. I think he stopped Tony. But then he faced tough and slick Tyrone Crawley, and he lost. And then he faced Harry Arroyo, and he lost that fight as well. I think both of them by decision, if I recall correctly. And pretty much that was the end of him. However, he did get a title shot against Kronk Jim's Jimmy Paul, okay? I think he was the IBF lightweight champion. Very tough guy. And if I remember correctly, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me, but I almost feel I'm spot on. He got knocked out by Jimmy Paul in the 14th round when he fought for the IBF lightweight title in the mid-80s. It might have been 84, 85, 83, somewhere in there. But that's when he fought him. And that was pretty much it. He did go on to have some wins against, as we say, nondescript talent. And he kind of faded off into the sunset. So there's your answer to your question, which was a very good one. I love when people write in and ask about these warriors that didn't get a lot of exposure or haven't gotten a lot of exposure since their heyday in boxing, which is something we do constantly on Ringside Report. All right, folks, there's your questions. And as I always do, forget about it. Send your questions in to Ringside Report 2014 at gmail.com. That's Ringside Report 2014 at gmail.com. And again, make sure you subscribe to the Ringside Report short RSR YouTube channel so you can keep up with all of our videos. And as we always do, it's another show in the can. And as Frank Sinatra sang so eloquently, so long ago, the best is yet to come. Bad Brad out.